for that, I love what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think the what you were saying just about working with a financial advisor before
Mm-hmm.
making some major decisions in your life,
Yes,
it's so key. And look, we all need financial advice. It's like no one's immune,
that's
and
right.
the people who are financially successful are the ones who have invested in themselves and hired professionals, took the classes, read the books, stay committed day in and day out to learning more and more about money. And I always like to remind people too with that because uh, I think sometimes when we go through our own financial lives, we get more emotional, which we're talking about the personal
Exactly.
connection. But I always try to relate to people and say, look, you're not alone. We
Mm-hmm.
all deal with this, but I happen to do it for a living and I just have seen a lot. So by all means, like, stop wasting time and money trying to do it on your own. And
Right.
whether I'm a good fit or not for you, just find the professional who is, because,
Exactly.
there's enough out there to help you and wherever you're at.
Hmm.
And that being said, could you explain the difference? Because a lot of people kind of lump financial advisors into
Yeah.
this one stiff pot and they kind of pack it all together and it's not. So could you
Right.
kind of unpack that for us and tell us what that a financial advisor like you are, what
Yeah.
that means?
So I think this is so key because there are many ways that financial professionals work in this industry. So there's like a few main ones I'll explain. First one is more or less somebody selling you a particular product, whether they're at the bank or an insurance person. You might work with them just to open up an account or get a life insurance policy in place. It's usually like a one-time transaction, and most of those individuals are receiving some sort of commission, right, or compensation based on whatever it is you're implementing, whatever
Right.
product you're buying or opening up. Then there's people who are more or less just focused on the investment side. And these are like your investment wealth managers. They may have a requirement of how much you need in order to work with them. I mean, most times they do if they're at some sort of big investment institution, just because it's not profitable for them to take you on if you don't have a sizable portfolio. So what I mean by that is you need 100,000 or 250,000 to even begin working with someone like that, and they might charge you some sort of percentage of assets under management, or like a retainer just to manage those assets, but they're usually not going to give you financial advice on how to set up your budget or how
Right.
to get your finances in order for the mortgage. um, and then there's people like me, which my model is actually very new to the industry and unique. I'm a certified financial planner, but I created a business model that is focused on fee only financial planning. So I actually don't take commissions. I say, here's how much I charge. It's a flat fee based on the level of complexity. I will help you understand how to set up a financial plan, implement the plan. So that includes budgeting, figuring out how much money you need to make, how to pay off your debts, how to open up the best savings account and set up systematic savings to reach your short-term goals, the different long-term goals such as retirement or college and buying that home. What do we need to
Right.
do to get there? The insurance, the tax, all of it basically. So my role is to be more or less this like financial officer for my client, kind of do
Right.
consulting, teaching, the therapy and
That's
accountability,
right.
and say this may be a more effective way to work with a financial planner or professional, because I don't really care if you buy XYZ product or ABC product. What my role is to just get the best systems or strategies or products for you, explain it to you, and then you can make the decision and not
Right.
have my compensation be affected either way. Like, you pay me for
Exactly.
advice, I give you objective advice, and my whole role is just to help you improve your finances and get to your goals. So, like I said, my model is newer. There's not that many fee only financial planners in the US, but it is something that's becoming more popular as consumers and clients get more education
Right.
around, hey, how are these people really compensated?
That's
And what
right.
is the best model for me? I think the model that I have is becoming more and more appealing because people
Right.
understand that coaching and education part of it.
Exactly. And I think it allows people to make the best educated, decision based on the information that they're receiving from you,
Right.
and they're researching themselves to make that decision versus someone influencing them based on the company they work for and the products they sell, because you are selling products at that point.
You are. And, there's
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it, but it really is.
Yes.
Someone is selling you a product. So you always just have to be aware when you're working with anybody, just find somebody that you really trust and who's looking out for your best interest, because they can be fine,
Right.
even if they are selling a particular product out for a particular company,
Right.
they can still be acting in your best interest. You just have to do your own due diligence and
That's
say,
right.
it's my responsibility to find the right people for my team to help me get to wherever I need to be in life.
Exactly.
Do you tailor, because I was watching some of your videos and one of them was like 9 things for women and like tips like that. Obviously it's financially wise women. Do you usually only work with women, or it's tailored towards like, I don't know, some of the comments were interesting. Like women sometimes have like husbands as their like subconscious backup plan, so they don't really focus on making sure they're financially stable.
Yeah.
That was one of the points. Do you only usually work with women? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so a lot of my marketing efforts are for women. My company's called Financially Wise Women. So, honestly, after being in the industry before I started the company, I was, like almost 7.5 years in, and I'm a young woman.
Right.
I'm young, I'm in the industry, and I'm rare, like
That's
less
right.
than
Yeah, no, and I think it's
1%
awesome.
of the
Yeah.
population in the financial industry is like
Yeah.
me, to be under now, a little bit over 30, but at the time it was like under 30, a woman who's a CFP that wanted to start her own business. It's like I can name the 5 people in the US who are
Yeah.
doing this. So with that being said, it was a little bit of a selfish reason because I wanted to work with more people like me.
Maybe it was just your passion. You cared.
I wanted to work with people like me, and I saw the passion. Like, it was just so enjoyable talking to everyday women that I'd normally meet for coffee or lunch with and say,
Right.
hey, I just happen to know money, and here's how you do it. And it
Exactly.
was just so fulfilling. So yes, most of my clientele is women. However, it's interesting because I do work with a lot of couples. So it's usually like the woman who finds me first, and then she'll bring her husband, and then we meet, to do the planning. And I also have a few individual men as clients, but I think niche marketing also
Yeah.
has allowed me to be super successful instead of saying, hey, I can help anyone and everybody.
Right.
I said, no, here's my specialty. Here's my particular group of people I want to work with. If you fit outside of that role and you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. But, it's just allowed me to like put my stuff out there, and then the people who are attracted to it to naturally
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
follow
organically
me.
follow
Yeah,
you
like
so
get
that
into
it's
the,
a fit.
the tribe, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
the vibe. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because everyone has their tribe.
We all have our
Right.
tribe.
And they speak the same language, and they are usually heading in the same direction. So it makes it a lot easier when you're dealing with people who already are organically drawn to you versus you having to convince someone. I think that's a harder road to go, and why go there when you don't need to? Because everybody's looking for something. They just have to find what speaks to them.
Right. And I think it's what you were saying earlier, Elizabeth, is just like be authentic to who you are
Right.
and create from that place. And I think naturally it takes time and work, but you're going to feel the most fulfilled that way because you're in service doing things that are authentically part of who you are. Yeah,
Yes,
naturally.
that's
so
right.
it's just such like I honestly, it's like such a give-receive relationship. I give so much, but I receive tenfold. Like, and that's what I say. It's like a little selfish. I was like, I'm receiving what I want by
Right.
doing these things. This is too good to be true. But that's life. That's really the secret, I feel like.
Yeah.
I believe it. I think
I
that's
believe
true.
it.
We all know the secret.
Oh, the secret now. And
So-
so, you had a question?
No, I don't have a question.
Okay.
Not
I know
yet,
that
anyway.
seems like
I have actually a million questions, but I don't want to. I don't want to
Bombard.
stray.
Oh, okay. Well, you can stray. We do
Bummer.
that here.
Like strain.
Well, one thing I was going to say is that you said that is interesting, and I completely agree with, is that the concept of someone saying I can help anyone. Like I think about that. I'm like, that's very true. If someone says that, I pretty much just don't believe them. And so it's authentic. Not only is it authentic, but it's realistic, and it it translates to your market or to whoever your audience or whoever, if you can say, this is who I help. And then rather than saying anybody that walks in my door, I can help, because that's just not true usually.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's such a misconception. I mean, you have to overcome that fear of, oh my God, I'm going to have to say no to people. And if I say no, there's going to be other people who will say yes. I mean, you really have to go through that process, because I think in business, we all just want to be everything to everybody. And it's
not possible.
Just focus, and you'll see it.
That's good business advice.
Yeah.
Business advisor, financial advice. Great.
You got it all covered.
Rap artist, YouTube star.
We collectively had a couple of questions that we were just kind of in admiration of all that you've accomplished. And so I know you do a lot online, and that's kind of different from traditional financial advisors too. And I think that's probably what's helping you gain a lot of traction. And so what made you decide to go to that medium specifically for your business?
Yeah, so talking about niche marketing, before I launched Financially Wise Women, I had spent 2.5 years at an independent firm. After I left Ameriprise Financial, I went to an independent firm called LPL Financial. And at that time, I had more freedom to brand myself.
Okay.
And that's when I started researching, branding and marketing, ideal client, and tailoring everything for that. And at the same time, this was 2010. So this is also when, social media started to become more and more popular, and not just an annoying thing, but people would use it for business and branding, right?
And it's
Everyone's their
away.
own brand. And so I saw, if my ideal client is a woman in her late 20s, 30s, who's creative and getting out there, driven to have this happy, fulfilled life, what is she into? Well, she's on these fashion and beauty blogs and creative blogs. And then I started seeing all these YouTube people launching a channel just talking about makeup. And I thought, whoa, this is interesting. People love this. And my ideal clients love it. So I want to be able to do something similar, but just make finance fun. Why can't finance be just as fun as beauty and fashion? And so I just started to plug away and study and research as much as possible about online marketing. And at that time, being with a firm, I still had a lot of compliance, as I still do now. Being in the financial industry, we have a lot of things to, be aware of. So I would call my compliance department when I was there and say, look, here's what I want to do. I want to create something called a blog. And they're like, what is that? And then I would have to explain, because normally their go-to answer will be no.
Right.
Especially in the financial arena, because of compliance, most firms say no. You can't have a Facebook, you can't have Twitter, you can't have YouTube, you can't do all these things. So I started to explain, a blog is simply a newsletter that someone would normally print and give it to a client, but now I just want to put it online. Okay, so then I had to work with them and figure out the process to get everything approved.
Right.
So this was when, Twitter, imagine, I had to get my tweets approved.
Gracious.
And by that time, it was already old. So I was like, this defeats the whole purpose. But I'm saying that because there were roadblocks and there were challenges, but I figured out a way to make it work, right? And then as I developed the blog, it was Financially Wise Women, and started to get content up there, and then launch the social media sites to match it and start to create my brand. It started to become this hustle just to tell everybody about the blog when I went to networking events or met with people.
Wow.
Hey, would you want to be subscribed to my blog? Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, it was one person at a time, getting one email subscriber at a time, working with compliance one day at a time. And then, like I said, after about 2.5 years there, I felt like I had established enough of a brand and a platform to then launch it into what it is now, which is a registered investment advisory firm. So I have a little bit more freedom and flexibility with social media.